The golden light of early autumn filtered gently through the tall trees surrounding the playground, turning the air warm and soft, as if the day itself were holding its breath. Leaves danced lazily in the breeze, their shadows stretching across slides and climbing frames painted in bold primary colors. Children's laughter rang through the park like scattered chimes, carefree and bright, echoing against the distant hum of the city. Victoria Sterling stood a few steps back from the swings, her posture straight, her presence unmistakably composed. She wore a tailored cream blazer over a silk blouse, the kind of outfit that belonged just as naturally in a boardroom as it did here. Her platinum blonde hair was swept into its usual immaculate bun, not a strand out of place, even in the open air. From a distance, she looked like a woman entirely in control. Her eyes, however, never left her daughter. Emma, 8 years old, sat on the swing, her small hands wrapped tightly around the chains. Her blonde hair caught the sunlight as she moved back and forth, higher and higher. Though she never laughed or shouted like the other children, she glided through the air silently, her blue eyes thoughtful, observing everything with quiet intensity. Victoria watched the way she always did, alert, protective, attuned to every shift in posture or expression. For 8 years, Emma had lived in silence, not because she couldn't speak, but because something inside her would not let her. Victoria's phone buzzed in her hand, emails piling up as they always did, but she barely glanced at the screen. Thursdays were sacred. No meetings after 3:30. No calls that couldn't wait. This time belonged to Emma. She didn't notice the man approaching until his shadow fell briefly across the sand. He was tall, over 6 feet easily, with broad shoulders that stretched the fabric of his worn gray hoodie. His jeans were faded, his sneakers scuffed, but there was an easy confidence in the way he moved, the kind that came from having faced real danger and survived it. He stopped a few feet from the swing, not crowding, not demanding attention. "Hey there," he said gently, his voice warm, steady. "That looks like a pretty smooth flight." Emma's swing slowed. Victoria's breath caught, without her realizing it. Strangers rarely spoke directly to Emma, and when they did, Emma usually turned away, shrinking into herself, her silence hardening like a wall. But this time, something different happened. Emma's lips parted, just barely, and for the first time in her life, she whispered, "Hello." The word was soft, fragile, almost unreal. Victoria froze. Her heart slammed against her ribs, so violently she thought she might collapse. Her fingers went numb. Her mind screamed that she must have imagined it, that hope had finally driven her mad. But the man heard it too. His eyes widened for a fraction of a second before he masked his reaction, dropping into a warm smile, as if nothing extraordinary had happened at all. "Well," he said kindly, "hello to you too." Victoria couldn't move. She couldn't breathe. Her entire world tilted on its axis in that single whispered word. Victoria Sterling had built her life on certainty, on strategy, on mastering chaos through sheer willpower. She had grown up with nothing. No safety net, no inheritance, no one to catch her as she fell. She learned early that success meant control. By 34, she had turned a struggling startup into a multi-million-dollar tech company. She commanded boardrooms with razor-sharp precision, negotiated contracts worth more than most people's lifetimes, and never once let anyone see her doubt. Investors trusted her. Employees admired her. Competitors feared her. But none of that had prepared her for motherhood. Emma had arrived 8 years ago in a hospital room that smelled of antiseptic and anticipation. Victoria still remembered the moment clearly, the rush of emotion, the tears in her eyes, the breath she didn't realize she was holding, and then the silence. The baby didn't cry. Doctors assured her it was fine. Some babies were quieter, they said. Emma was healthy, strong, perfect, but weeks passed, months, years. Emma never babbled, never called mama, never screamed or laughed aloud. Every test came back normal. Her hearing was flawless, her vocal cords intact, her intelligence well above average. The diagnosis, when it finally came, was devastating. Selective mutism, likely rooted in psychological trauma during birth. No one could explain exactly how or why, only that Emma's voice was locked somewhere deep inside her. Victoria threw everything she had into fixing it. Speech therapists, child psychologists, play therapy, art therapy, alternative treatments that promise breakthroughs and deliver heartbreak. She flew specialists in from across the country, paid for experimental programs that cost more than cars, more than houses. Nothing worked. Each failure carved another piece from her heart. School was its own quiet cruelty. Teachers described Emma as brilliant but unreachable. Other children tried at first, drawn to her gentle beauty and calm demeanor. But patience wore thin. Emma didn't speak, didn't play by the rules, didn't respond. They didn't bully her. They simply stopped noticing her. Emma ate lunch alone, played alone, existed alone. Victoria responded the only way she knew how, by building walls. Private tutors replaced classrooms. Carefully planned playdates faded away. Weekends became just the two of them. Victoria read aloud while Emma drew intricate pictures. Their communication reduced to gestures, expressions, and written notes. It worked, but it wasn't living. Many nights, Victoria stood in Emma's doorway, listening to the silence of the house, wondering if her daughter spoke in her dreams. If she laughed somewhere Victoria couldn't reach, she would have given anything, everything, to hear her daughter's voice. And now she had. The man who had unknowingly unlocked that moment was named Marcus Thompson. Victoria learned that later. For now, she watched as a 6-year-old son, an explosion of energy named Jake, ran across the playground introducing himself to every child in sight. "Hi, I'm Jake. Want to play astronauts? Or pirates? Or dinosaur explorers? I can be the captain." He didn't wait for answers. He didn't need them. He reached Emma next. "Hey, you can be the alien, or the robot, or the secret commander." Emma didn't recoil. She watched him, curious. Marcus approached the bench where Victoria sat. "Mind if I sit?" he asked. "My kid's got enough energy for 3 playgrounds." Victoria hesitated. She usually declined, usually protected Emma from unpredictable variables. But something about Marcus, his calm, his lack of scrutiny, made her nod. They sat in silence, watching their children. "Your daughter's observant," Marcus said after a while. Not a question, a statement. Victoria turned sharply. "Most people don't notice that." Marcus shrugged. "I work with kids. The watchers usually understand more than we think." Jake demonstrated a dramatic space jump off the swing. Emma's lips curved, not quite a smile, but close. And Victoria felt something shift. This was only the beginning. The days that followed unfolded with a quiet rhythm that Victoria found herself craving more than she cared to admit. Each afternoon at the park became a fragile thread of hope she clung to, afraid that if she pulled too hard, it might snap. Marcus and Jake appeared like clockwork, always a few minutes after Victoria and Emma arrived. Jake burst on the playground with the same unstoppable enthusiasm, narrating entire adventures before his feet even hit the ground. Pirates one day, deep-sea explorers the next, dinosaur hunters by Thursday. Emma never spoke, but she watched, intently, attentively, and something about Jake's relentless inclusion drew her in. He never demanded answers. He never waited for words. "You're the lookout," he'd say seriously. "You guard the treasure. You're the secret boss." Roles that mattered, roles that required presence, not speech. Marcus, meanwhile, would sit beside Victoria, offering her a cup of coffee without ceremony, as if it had always been this way. They talked about nothing and everything, the weather, the city, small observations about the children. He never asked why Emma didn't talk, never made her feel like she owed him an explanation. For the first time in 8 years, Victoria felt relief instead of vigilance. Then came Friday. Jake organized a game involving a pretend restaurant. Emma was assigned the role of taste tester. Nod or shake her head. That was all. But Emma stepped forward. She joined the circle. Victoria's breath caught as she watched her daughter stand among other children, not on the edges, not watching from afar, but included. When one child complained that Emma wasn't saying the food was good or bad, Marcus intervened smoothly, pulling a notebook from his pocket. "Some of the best critics write their reviews," he said lightly, Emma, want to rate them with stars? Emma took the pencil. Her hand didn't shake. She drew stars carefully, one dish at a time. The children leaned in, delighted, competing for better ratings. Then came the ball. A magic ingredient passed around the circle. Each child announced its power. When it reached Emma, the game paused. The silence stretched. Marcus knelt beside her, steady and calm. I'm a little hard of hearing from fire truck sirens, he said with a conspiratorial wink. Could you say a bit louder? Emma looked at him, at the ball, at her mother. She inhaled. Ball, she whispered. The word detonated inside Victoria. 8 years of silence shattered by a single breath of sound. Her hands flew to her mouth as tears blurred everything. Marcus didn't celebrate, didn't draw attention. He simply nodded, quiet acknowledgement, and guided the game forward as if nothing monumental had occurred. But Victoria saw his hand shake slightly. Emma walked back to her mother afterward and let herself be held. Thank you, Victoria whispered to Marcus. 8 years! She hasn't spoken in 8 years. Marcus met her gaze gently. She already had the words. She just needed the right moment to feel safe using them. That moment changed everything. Emma joined Marcus's community center sessions. No pressure, no demands, just movement, rhythm, play. Tuesday and Thursday became sacred. Emma communicated through gestures, drawings, clapping games, then whispers, always on her terms. Progress came, then regression. Victoria missed sessions for work emergencies. Emma retreated. The walls rebuilt themselves higher than before. Marcus didn't scold. He didn't sugarcoat either. She needs consistency, he said quietly. She needs to know she matters more than meetings. Victoria listened, and she chose differently. Saturday's special session brought another miracle. During a storytelling game, Emma spoke again, clearly this time. Here, a simple word, a powerful one. Later, in the car, Emma spoke 3 more. Tell Jake thank you. Victoria pulled over and cried. Weeks passed, months. Emma's voice grew stronger within her safe circle. Victoria reshaped her entire career around presence. Marcus became more than a mentor. He became family. Then came the school incident. Panic, tears, silence threatening to reclaim everything. Victoria called Marcus. Bring her to the park, he said. The old game, the magic ball. This time, Emma didn't whisper. I want to play again. Not surrender. Defiance. From that day forward, her progress accelerated. Not perfectly, not linearly, but courageously. Then, one Thursday in May, Emma climbed the jungle gym, looked down at her family, and called out, clear as sunlight, Look at me. I'm flying. The playground went silent. Marcus smiled wider than Victoria had ever seen. Emma climbed down, tugged on Marcus's shirt. Jake's dad, will you be my dad too? Marcus answered without hesitation. I would be honored. Jake jumped in. We're getting a whole family. Emma smiled. Family. 6 months later, under golden autumn light in the same park, where everything began, Emma stood between Marcus and Victoria in a yellow dress, holding rings. When asked if anyone had words to share, she stepped forward. My mom was sad because I couldn't talk. She said clearly, Marcus and Jake showed us love doesn't need words, but now I have them. She thanked Marcus. She thanked Jake. She thanked her mother. And when the butterflies were released into the sky, Emma called out, Fly high. Then she slipped her hands into theirs and said the word that meant everything. Home. And it was